Hey, I appreciate you guys coming. Before I forget, is anybody in their first year, by the way? Really? Two of you? That's close enough. All right. I'm grabbing another one. I got presents for you. Appreciate you coming very much. Remind me, I'm going to pull it out. I got one in there. Get going. I have 161 slides I got to do in 120 minutes, so I will kind of move fairly quickly here. All right. There we go. I always like to start out by saying thank you if you guys or gals have ever served. We appreciate you very much. Won't make you stand up or anything like that. Who the heck am I? I'm just John, and yeah, I've been around a long time. This is like 28 years, or 27 years? Something like that, a long time anyway. I started with a degree in building construction and got into home inspections and picked up a few trophies along the way. And I put this not to impress anybody, because there's always somebody smarter than I am. And Hollis brings even more experience and time than I do to this, so the pressure's really on. And then I have the beautiful Ms. Tessa Murray in the back here. So this is a lot of pressure, but I love this stuff. So I just put this up here so people understand where I'm coming from, okay? I didn't start last year or anything like that. Feel free to reach out. On YouTube, it's Home Inspection Channel. If you do that, I guess you don't Google YouTube, right? Anyway, it's called Home Inspection Channel. A lot of people reach out to me on Facebook and stuff, and I love conversing and helping any time I can. And if you have really good pictures, I really like some pictures too. And I will give you credit. But that's how to get a hold of me if you'd like. So let's, without any further ado, we'll dive right in. And I guess I should say, this is how we do it in Florida, right? They don't call it Florida for nothing, okay? So, the current standards, what kind of standards do we have for inspecting pools? Well, yeah, you've got whatever your state might or might not require, and the only national things that we have are going to be ASHI and NACHI, right? Okay, those we know though are full of a bunch of exclusions and limitations, right? That's basically what it is. That's not what this class is going to be. Okay, this class is going to be code based, and I'm pulling both from, since there's always somebody from Florida. It doesn't matter where I go, where I speak. There's always Florida people. I've got Florida code and then IRC. Florida code was originally based off of the IRC, and if you have a different standard in your state, it's probably based off the IRC as well, or going to be very similar regardless. So I'm going to quote a whole lot of code here, and that's intentional. If you don't quote code, if you don't like to quote code, if your state says you can't, your company says you can't, that's fine. You need to understand where this thing is coming from. It's not John's opinion. I don't say that the screen door must open outward. The Big Book of Rules does. However you disclose it is completely up to you, okay? So I'm not trying to get into any kind of debate, anything like that. I'm showing you facts. However you disclose that's your business. So we're also pulling a lot from the NAC. Anything electrical, pool related is going to be in 680, and you can pull that up, you know, online free of charge. Actually, any of the codes you can pull free online. If you didn't know, iccsafe.org as an International Code Council, safe at home plate, iccsafe.org, those are all free. So today, what I want to do is, this is a 6-hour presentation down to 2, okay? So it might look a little choppy. The segues aren't as smooth as it is when it's full, but I want to get into the big stuff. I want to get into SOP, okay? Anything that you do in your professional life, it has an SOP. When you get on the roof, you do step 1, step 2, step 3. When you're looking at the AC system, step 1, step 2, right? Look at any successful company, like a McDonald's or something like that. Anybody can read a list. Tear open the bag, empty contents into basket, lower basket into grease, hit the button. Like anybody can follow those, right? So you must have a solid SOP. So I'm going to focus on that a lot. So when you walk at it here, you'll have a very good feel, a good grasp on the process, and you can train the next guy or gal. Cool? I also want to hit some things that, that might get you sued, okay? Those are things you want to know. That's where I'm going to go today with these things. So, what is a swimming pool? Well, I gave you the answer. Come on.
It's a manufacturer of field construction equipment.
Thank you.
And water on a permanent semi-permanent basis and used for swimming, wading, immersion, or therapeutic.
God, you memorized all that, Hollis. Damn, I told you he was good, did I not? I told you. This is interesting, and why in the heck would I start with that? Because one day you're going to walk up and there's going to be something like that in the yard, and you better qualify it in your report. Seriously. You better state something about it. Because if a little kid drowns, you know how the legal system works. They give you a certain amount of responsibility. Okay? You should have said something. There was actually a story in the Ashy Reporter many, many years ago about a home inspector that got sued because it wasn't that funny. God bless you, I'm sorry. They got sued because a little kid, only boys do this stuff, okay? Little boy goes over to the bird bath and went to climb on it, and it came down and it broke his neck, or like he got hurt pretty bad. And of course, they assigned some percent of responsibility to the home inspector. Yeah, exactly. So qualify it. When you see that little Walmart thing out in the backyard or whatever, just say it's not part of your inspection, right? Okay. So, pools, where would we start? Where should you start? You're going to have to train somebody else now, right? So where should we start? On the deck? Okay. You get to write your own SOP. So that's where you're going to start. That's good. In any class that I ever have, I always try to tell people you shouldn't look at, oh, I'm sorry, you're supposed to use your magic inspector goggles. That's what you're supposed to do. You shouldn't look at a wall and see colors and textures and accessories and stuff like that. You need to look at the wall and see sticks and nails, pipes, wires, draft stop, whatever else is inside that wall, right? That's how you have to think. Whatever it is, when you have that mental picture, you will automatically be better, okay? So when it comes to pools, we want to look at it like you look at the wall. You see the pipes and the sticks and the nails, and right? Is this good enough for engineering? Okay. We've got a licensed engineer in here too, so there's a lot of freaking pressure here. So that's where I'm going to start. If we break this down into simple components, it's very, very easy to absorb, all right? I try to make everything on a 5th grade level because that's how I think. I'll take the blame for it. You need to, everything should be like that. Just make this really simple and easy, and you're going to remember it. So your major components are going to be the shell. That shell is basically a sidewalk in the shape of a bowl, right? It's about 6 inches thick. It's got some steel in it. Does that make sense? It's very, very simple, right? So we've got the bowl. We have something to finish it, make it look pretty. Of course, all of your equipment, and we're going to get into at least some of this in this 2-hour thing. You've got plumbing. You've got the deck, right? And one of the things that will get you sued is barriers. So you have to know your barriers. We'll hit things pretty quick here, but you need to pull that code book out and familiarize yourself with barriers. So we start by digging a hole, right? Most of this is going to be in-ground systems. I understand that you have other types, but again, I got 2 hours. So we're going to focus on the in-ground stuff, and we start with a hole, right? We got to get it into the ground first. Then they come in and they plumb it, okay? See all the pipes sticking up? This is how you need to view that pool, right? Once you get it all plumbed, then they're going to steel it. Well, it was much funnier in Miami. That's what they call it. They call it stealing it. It's a lot of rebar, and I mean a whole lot of rebar. It looks like a Longaberger basket of steel. There's a whole bunch of it in there. All right? So they plumb it, they steal it, and it's very important to make sure you get that steel in the middle of the concrete. Anybody ever been to a hotel on the coast? And sometimes you see them, they're ripping all the balconies off. There's always repairs being done. Cracks, little cracks grow up to be big cracks, right? And water gets in, and when water gets in, the steel gets wet. The steel gets wet, it corrodes, and it corrodes, it expands, right? Concrete's very, very strong in compression, very weak in tensile strength, so that steel expands and the crack gets bigger and the spalling, and it can't get better. It can only get worse. And I'm not even a structural engineer. So when you see something like this, like I've read the Florida contracts, real estate contracts, and they say that the shell is aesthetic. Well, the shell's not just aesthetic. There's a function to the finish and all this kind of stuff, right? When that steel corrodes, you're going to start developing cracks, bigger cracks, right? So this looks like it's coming from steel that's inside there. So you're going to get a little pushback from the real estate agents is what I'm saying. But you have to know in your mind, in your head, they steal it. There's a lot of steel in there. Remember that Longaberger basket, right? So stand your ground, is what I'm saying. This is an issue. And the good thing is we don't have to know how to fix anything. We just say, you observe. You know, if you describe exactly what you see, you're never wrong. Wow. This job is so easy. I just described, there is a rust color stain located at wherever it is. Have the pool guy evaluate and design a repair. That was easy. And they pay us for this. Right? There's 16,000 inspectors in Florida, licensed. About half are active. We have enough. So don't tell anybody else, because this job is so good, so cool. Okay, we've plumbed it, we've steeled it. Part of this, while everything is exposed, everything's got to be bonded. And I'll get into bonding a little bit more as we get into this. But everything, all the steel has to be bonded, including all this. Oh, I forgot I have. Oh, that's. Okay, sorry, no laser on this one. Including the steel that's in the deck, including metal, like window frames. Everything has to be bonded together, holding hands. Oh, you got one there? I have one in my bag, but it'd take me too long to get out. Sweet, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right. So you see, Vince might get real excited. Hold on. You see the wire coming, it's tied to the steel here, and it ties to the metal window frame. So everything is bonded at this time. Now, it's really starting to look like something, right? Now it's starting to form. Again, this is what you need to see when you're in the field. It looks like a birthday cake, doesn't it? All those candles down there. Actually, all of these candles, these are in-floor returns. Okay, the water that goes to the pool is the returns. Anybody? What's that?
Is that typical? I have a pool. I have 3.
Okay, you got an older pool. You don't have in-floor?
I have 3 in the deep end.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know there's a ton of them in this picture, yeah. All that stuff is engineered, okay? When I was growing up, we never had in-floor returns. They were all on the side, okay? So this is a newer, air quotes, design. But the concept is it returns water to the pool, filtered water to the pool, but it also pushes debris towards the main drain. So it can go into the pump, into the filter, right? That's the concept. They don't all pop up at the same time either. I've had people, hey, that one's not working. Write that up. You're like, chill. Give it some time. They're on zones, just like your irrigation. It's just like an irrigation system. Okay? If you think of it like that, right? Caretaker is a brand name, so kind of a Coke or Kleenex type of thing. But it's hard for me not to call it an in-floor return system because I learned it as a caretaker, but that's not exactly correct. There's other systems, other manufacturers, right? But it's just like your irrigation system. So these are all, that's a zone, that's a zone, that's a zone, right? Okay, so that's all that little thing is. Now, when you see that in the field, you'll know, right? And they look just like a sprinkler system. So you'll see that in the bottom of the pool, and they pop up at different times. Damn, that's good. I wonder where I got that. Thanks, Miss Tessa. Okay, so we've plumbed it, steeled it, and now we shoot it. Again, it was much funnier in Miami. Like, this almost looks like fun, doesn't it? I mean, if you're a dude, of course. It does look fun, right? This is hard work, though. This is back-breaking work. So the old-fashioned way, you can wheelbarrow and shovel it up on there, and then somebody, spreads it all out. This is an easier way. They shoot it all on there, which is why you hear it called shotcrete, gunite, shotcrete, okay? So now we have what looks like a pool. Does everybody get now comfy with what you're looking at, right? You know what's inside. Then they're going to come along and finish it. Okay, I know that the real estate contracts say that the finish is aesthetic. It's not just aesthetic, or nobody would ever contractors wouldn't finish it. There is a function to that finish, all right? But once you get that finish on there, they trowel it all, make it nice and smooth, and I can't remember what I've pulled out and what I haven't. There's a couple different primary types of finishes, okay? The old school stuff is Marcite. In my market, Central Florida, we don't see that anymore. Like, nobody's used that for a long time. It may be different in your area. I have had people say, well, that's all they have is Marcite. It sucks to live here. No. But it's old school. It doesn't live nearly as long. You're going to get, depending on how well they take care of the pool, 6 to 8 years, where an exposed aggregate finish is going to be twice as long, life expectancy. Literally twice as long, and the cost isn't that much. Kind of like putting a 3-tab and a 4-tab, or 3-tab and an architectural shingle. The cost just isn't that much, and one performs a lot better. Why not use that, right? So that's typically what you're going to find. And you may be familiar with Pebble Tech or Diamond Bright, but don't call it that. One, you might be wrong. Two, it might be another manufacturer and you don't realize it, okay? Keep it generic. I remember there was another story in the ASHI Reporter years ago. What was that stuff that was real popular in the 90s, the countertops? Corian. Remember when Corian was real hot? And somebody called it Corian countertops in their report. It wasn't Corian, that's a manufacturer. And of course, they wanted the inspector to buy all new countertops. Okay? So just call it exposed aggregate. There's a reason why it's called exposed aggregate. When they put all that finish on there and they trowel it all out and then they sponge it and acid wash it and stuff, and it exposes the aggregate that's in the mix.
Can you call it gunite?
Gunite would be the sidewalk, the pool shell, the concrete. Right. So the finish, it's only going to be give or take ½ inch thick, right? Just call it exposed aggregate. So that's how you can get different colors, because the aggregate comes in blue and green and black and tan, whatever else, yeah, whatever other color you want. Orange and blue would look really nice, But sometimes you may get, we're not going to go over it in this class, but a fiberglass coating on top of the already existing finish. There was something called Fiber Tech back in the day, and just like everything else, it didn't perform real well, especially over time, and it all failed. And that's why I put it in here. But we're not going to go over those. Tile is another one. Tile is gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful finish. You don't see a lot of it because it's expensive, right? When you go to a nice resort or something like that is when you find most of the tile. So Marsite, we said, doesn't last very long. And when it starts to fail, it starts spalling. Okay, so you got nice big chunks that are spalling off. Well, this makes the report really easy, right? There's no duct tape fix for this. There's no super glue fix for this, anything like that. This is a do-over. Make sense? You know, when the window's broke, you don't say, have a window contractor evaluate for repair. No, you replace the glass. It's simple. It's very simple, right? So I like it when it's really, really bad, because then you go, it's really, really bad, more eloquent than this. It's really, really bad, and it sucks, and budget for refinishing, right? That nobody can ever say, oh, you missed that little spot over here. No, I told you to refinish the whole thing, right? Cool. If you do this, it makes you look sexier, by the way. Okay? Just smile. What happens when you spit on the sidewalk?
Somebody steps in it.
But it disappears, right? The sidewalk is porous. It pulls it in. Remember, we have a sidewalk. It's in the shape of a bowl. Okay, so if there is no finish, where does the water go? Duh, it's going to get sucked in, right? And what's inside? Steel. All right. Exactly. So the agent may say, hey, that's just aesthetic. The contract says so. I understand where they're coming from, but I'm not changing my report. This is severely worn, and they need to budget for a refinish. Simple. It's easy.
So that water is leaking into
Remember, it's a sidewalk. It's a.
I've never seen something like that, so I'm just seeing that like,
You're not from Florida. Yeah. You too?
That's normal.
Are you from Florida?
Tampa.
No kidding. I was born and raised in Tampa. Yeah, Chamberlain. You?
I went to USF.
You went to USF for high school?
No, for college.
I know. Chamberlain was my high school. 13th grade. All right. What do you see?
Like a deterioration to the finish.
Mm-hmm. Flaking, deterioration.
you call it falling or place.
No. No, this is a pool that's been painted. Okay? Yes, they make paint for pools. It has a very, very short life expectancy. Okay? Again, depending on how well you take care of it, you might get a year, 2 or 3. That's it. But you can do it. Why the hell would anybody paint a pool if it doesn't last very long? To cover? Because it's cheap and they're selling the house, right? Okay, so it may look beautiful, and that's what the agent's going to say. It's beautiful. Don't kill my deal, right? Well, you know now that it has a very short life expectancy, so come up with a canned statement. Okay, pool has been painted, fact. It has a relatively short life, however you choose to say it. Have chat help you out, but make sure you say something about it. Can we tell if the... So can we tell if it's hiding a defect?
He's saying this is a picture of defective paint. He's saying, can we tell that it's been painted without seeing a defect in the paint?
I'd say it looks good.
It's bright blue.
Is there a way that we can tell that it's painted?
Who wakes up on a Saturday and says, I got a great idea. There's nothing wrong with my pool, but I think I'm going to paint it.
I don't know. Someone wants to sell their house.
No, the question was, can you tell just by looking at the pool that it's been painted?
Yes, you can tell. Look at the fine detail, okay? I think I still have a picture in here coming up. Let's see. Well,
Would it have more of a glossy finish as opposed to like exposed?
well, you'll probably see like where the finish meets the tile, and somebody's not perfect. You can tell. You'll be able to see it. The good thing is now today, most of us have software that you can put in video, right? So, dang it. Okay, that's supposed to be a video. Or are you able to push play? All right, not a big deal. I can act it out for you, yes. How hard is it to bend over and rub? Like it's not hard. Okay, so all I did is bend over and I rubbed it and it's stuck to my fingers because the paint has failed. Okay, and the video is like 4 seconds, 5 seconds. It's really fast, and I understand, before you get all upset, the standard says I don't have to get my hands wet. If you're the only one in your market that's doing it, then you're better than everybody else. And how hard is it? It's not hard to be good in this business. It really isn't. It's very simple. So I've proved that the paint has failed there. Here's close-ups of Diamond Bright and Pebble Tech, but what do we call it? Exposed aggregate. Yes! All right, you fire me up, man. I love it. Make sure you call it by the better name. How do you tell if that has failed?
With the Hamel straight method.
Good job. Excellent job. Fantastic. It's red in here for us. It's not red in my report, but this is a default statement that's in all of my pool template, right? I acknowledge that I checked it. And I've used the Hamel scrape method to do so. Sounds very scientific, doesn't it? It's sexy, right? Dang right. What the heck is the Hamel finish? I'm glad you asked. This is it. Now, this is another video. I hope this one works. It's not. Oh, no? There we go. Thank you. Listen. So I do that all the way around the pool. This was just a really quick demo. That magnifies the sound, just like you heard it from that far away. That was literally holding my phone, videotaping that. The sound was not enhanced. You can hear it. It's the same thing as if you rub a screwdriver on a kitchen tile floor. You can hear the disbonded tile, right? Here you will find sometimes the finish just flakes away. Sometimes you can hear the hollow spots in there. And it's real quick, just doing this all the way around. You're not going to damage anything, trust me. I do have another video, I think I pulled it out for time, where I put a GoPro down there in the water and just a simple scrape like this, and you watch all the aggregate fall off. Want me to tell you how many times that saved our rear end? Back in the day, we used to have our laptop in the kitchen, and we would inspect and type. And we were in a big house with one of my guys, and he had done the pool. I was doing something else. I went in there, and the pool page was open, and it said the pool finish is shot, budget for a refinish. And I looked out there, and I go, Ronnie, what the hell? What's wrong with it? Okay, men, you know what I'm talking about. When your wife looks at you and goes, right, you know what that means. Ooh, I messed up, right? So he took me out there and showed me using that Hamel scrape method, and it just all flaked off. And went, holy crap. Okay, that just saved us $5,000, right? Because they're gonna find it eventually, and then it's your fault.
So is the scrape method not just scraping it off? Or is it actually putting it under applied pressure? It shouldn't be scraped off in that situation because it looks like you could almost manufacture this stuff coming off if you're running a metal bullet.
If it's in good shape, you're not gonna damage it.
It shouldn't.
Yeah, it's not.
It shouldn't be just coming off.
Right. It'll be on there pretty good. I'll give you another scary story, the true story too. A friend of mine in the Orlando area did an inspection. He was one that followed the standards, hands tied behind my back, visual inspection only. Looks good. Well, they moved in, and what happens when you buy a pool house? You have to have a party, right? And have everybody over. Hey, we bought a new house, we got a pool, come on. And everybody's there, and the kids are having a great time, and they're having races in the pool and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, they start itching, and mommy, mommy, mommy. It was a fiberglass pool, and all the fibers were coming off, and they're all itching and screaming. Well, he got the fat letter. How hard is it to rub or do the Hamel scrape? It's not hard. And all of a sudden, you're better than everybody else in your market. What am I using? It's a piece of EMT, conduit, metal conduit. And here's the secret. You go to Home Depot, and they're like 8 foot long, right? Well, I pull it out, and I find the middle, because it's easy to balance, find the middle, and I break it over my knee. Both of those will fit in the back of the truck with the tailgate up.
Why do you use your knee? Why don't you just snap it like that?
Yeah, I didn't want to show off, So anyway, it's real easy to do. It comes from a contractor in the Central Florida market that invented it. So we named it after him. Okay, you're going to have to slow down. If the pool pump is running, the water is going to be, it's not going to be clear to the bottom, right? So when you're evaluating the shell, you got to slow down. Make sure the pump is off so you can see and look. Take a minute and look around. Is that crack major, minor? What? Don't know. Good thing is we don't have to. There is a crack in the pool. That's a fact. I'm not wrong. I'm always right because I describe exactly what I see. This one is going to be some further evaluation. You have to. Someone's going to swim down there, lefty-loosey a couple screws, and check out the main drain. Make sure it's okay, right? It may be superficial and they can patch it, but I don't know. No earthly idea. So make sure the pump is off so there's clarity. You can see inside of it. What do you see here? Why do you say that? Does it resemble that Longaberger basket of steel that's in there? Ah. It's consistent with that Longaberger basket of steel. Is that cool stuff? This is so simple. This is so easy. All right. And there's a pattern there, right? It's consistent. It's a pattern. When you see something like this, that's more random. Maybe it was a metallic toy or something, whatever that got. Yeah, whatever that was left in there.
The overhead screen cover, the corrosion off the fasteners are dropping down.
There you go. Could be. All I got to do is take a picture and state exactly what I see. I see a random corrosion type mark at this location. It doesn't appear to be, it's not in a pattern, so it doesn't appear to be the Longaberger basket, right? Now, right now, you can get on your phone, not right now, but after this class, get on your phones and order you a GoPro and charge it to your business because it's a legit write-off and you take it on vacation with you. But get a GoPro and all of a sudden you up your image easily. You can stick the camera in the water and take a picture. I forgot. What do you see here? It's a piece of steel. If you could, if it were clear. Yeah, you can actually see the steel. Okay, it's going to be much harder for the real estate agent to argue with you, okay, when you can see the rebar. Too close to the surface. Somebody's got to fix it. Macro, micro, okay, this will serve you very, very well. It's just a method for reporting. If I put just this picture in my report, somebody calls me next week and they're going to say, what is it, where is it? I'm like, I don't freaking know. I have no idea. But when I put a contextual picture with it, this is the macro, this is the micro, I never get that phone call because they go, oh, it's over in the corner there, and yeah, they see it exactly where it is. So macro, micro is just a methodology for reporting. This is efflorescence, okay? And again, like those are some kick butt pictures, right? That's the GoPro that you're going to buy from Amazon and write it off and take it to vacation with you. And well, this is cool stuff, right? I get much better pictures than my competition that won't spend a few $100 for, GoPro. So make sure you get one of those. So what is efflorescence, by the way? There's a technical definition, but it's basically the salts left behind, okay? So I know water is moving through that, which tells me it needs to be what? It needs to be patched or cleaned.
Further evaluated.
You can see it. It just needs to repair, right? I despise reading all these reports. Have somebody evaluate, have somebody evaluate, have somebody evaluate. You're like, why did I hire you? If it's obvious, don't say it needs evaluation. You just say it's broke and fix it, right? That's my personal. Do whatever your boss tells you. But that's basically all efflorescence is. But it's a sign that water is moving through it. You see it on brick buildings all the time. That means there's water moving through that brick, right? All right. Now keep my fingers crossed. It's kind of hard to tell in this picture, but the pool's been painted. I'm going to try this video here and watch it's real quick, so watch close what happens. Using my GoPro. See how big chunks have spalled off? Yep, they painted it. Look how rough that is. That's not a smooth surface. Bam. Like Craig Johnson would say, you don't match with my kung fu. And that was so easy. 4-second video, bam, done. Guess who's not getting sued? This cat right here, right? All right. I usually have a little bit about fiberglass because they are kind of popular, but we're not going to go there with this. But I wanted this picture because you see what you got in the back? It's a swim out. They're always there. That's why you've never thought about it. But it's required. It's not my opinion. The Big Book of Rules will tell you. This is out of the IRC. When you have, on the shallow end, more than 24 inches, you have to have a way out. Now, there's a bunch of stuff on the list. It can be steps and walkouts, benches, whatever. There's a bunch of things on that list that it can be. But it says you have to have one. So the shallow end, 24 inches. On the deep end, if it's 5 feet or more, you got to have another one there. Okay, you have to have a way out. Now, I've never seen one that was missing. Like, this is usually in engineering, or if it's a fiberglass, it's manufactured, so it shows up. But be aware, it should be there, and it should be visible. I think it's in the building code version of the Florida Building Code, and it's in the IRC somewhere, but it tells you that dissimilar elevation in there, it should be discernible. That's why you usually see like tile around the step, so you can see it. right? So like last night, and Vince and I are coming back, and we were hammered, and we want to go in the pool. You know, you're not paying attention. If you dove in where there was that step, you could break your neck, right? So that's why it's supposed to be there. Now that we have found several times where there was no distinguishing marks, no design or anything like that, and we couldn't tell. So regardless of whether it was a requirement or not, I would say something, all right? And it's a canned statement, right? Click, done.
Even for an exposed aggregate pool, that
Yeah,
applies?
supposed to, it should be marked.
You've never seen that in one of those type of pools, right?
Where are you from?
Louisiana.
Okay, no wonder. It's Louisiana. No one cares here. Yeah,
Usually the defects are defects. The fiberglass is built in, like you said, it's always there.
yeah. So he's saying he doesn't see the markings or the existence.
The more than 5 foot requires a way out.
Oh, wow. Well, it's not my opinion. Look it up, 809.3. Well, again, it's not my opinion. It says it right there. Right? All right, bonding. As far as I know, it's always been. You might be right. I don't know. Look it up. Oh, was it? Okay, well, I'm skipping that then. All right, bonding is another one of those things that people can get hurt, people can die, and you have to know because if there's a wrongful or if there's a death, you're going to get assigned some percentage of blame, right? Bonding, the entire purpose of bonding is to eliminate a voltage gradient. Yesterday, a really smart chick did this thing on building science, and remember she talked about heat. She's sitting in the back there. You talked about how heat moves. It goes from hot to cold. That's physics. God made it. That's what's going to happen. The greater the temperature differential, the faster it goes. Okay? So we're talking about eliminating a voltage gradient. If something is energized and something isn't, there is a potential. There's a gradient there. And if you are the person that grabs both sides, well, it goes through you, right? So sometimes you see the easiest to picture, you have a metal ladder going down in the pool, and if you went to grab both sides to go in the ladder, one side was energized and the other wasn't, like if it had plastic steps in between. Now you touch both sides, it goes through you. Okay, so the purpose of bonding is to eliminate that gradient. It makes everything the same, and then people don't get electrocuted, okay? Think about if we were all in here holding hands, okay, male bonding. Now that's going to be corrupt. It's in your head forever now, right? Just like the star on at the bottom of the elevator shaft. You'll never forget that. Male bonding, if somebody lets go, now there's a potential there. There's a right? And somebody else steps in, now they finish that chain. So that's the purpose of bonding. And everything, and it has to be a certain size, okay? It has to be copper, and it's got to be a solid copper, number 8, at least, okay? Must be. And we're talking about everything metal associated with the pool must be bonded. All these components have to be holding hands, okay? We're talking metal, right in the beginning, the metal window frames, it's metal. It's got to be bonded with the steel that's in the deck, the motor casing, the heater casing. Nailed it. Anything within 5 feet horizontally and 12 feet vertically. So if you picture that pool shell, it goes out 5 feet horizontal and 12 feet up. So this magic box, anything metal inside the magic box must be bonded. Everything inside that metal box must be bonded. They all have to be holding hands. And that's where your next potential new upsell comes from. Upservice comes from. You can test for bonding.
What to say? You can't see that bonding. Only bonding you can usually see is pool pumps and stuff. You can't see an actual pool bonding because that's underneath the concrete.
Yeah, he's talking about you can't see it. You can see a connection at a pool pump, at a screen cage, but you can't see what's in the deck or something like that, right? Okay. You better put that in your report. If you're not testing for it, you better put it in there that bonding connections are visible, something like that. Is it bonded? Check, however your report reads, okay? And you cannot confirm concealed metal components unless you pay me. Because you can test for this, and it's super easy. I think I've pulled that, I think I've pulled it out, but while I'm thinking of it, I'll just tell you real quick. You can get a painter's stick, right? It always has a metal tip where you screw the thing on, right? You take one of a wire, screw it to that metal part, and curl it up the stick. So at the top, you just literally blue tape your multimeter to it. Then you'll have, you can pick up speaker wire for like $8 for 100 feet, or 50 feet, I think it was, $8. And that allows you to connect to the pool pump, because you can see that connection, clip it on there with an alligator clamp, and then you can take your stick and your, you know, it's all attached, and I can come touch the soffit, the fascia, the gutters. I can reach down and touch the pool light. Continuity, exactly. You put your little multimeter to continuity, and you'll hear it tone. It'll beep. It's that easy. It's literally that easy, and you can charge for this. Amen. It's so simple. All right. We made it fairly cheap, like $50 or something like that. We only ever had people take us up on it a couple times. And I could care less if no one ever took me up on it. Because what's the worst case scenario? Somebody gets electrocuted, right? And then all of a sudden the judge is reading the report and says, well, he says he does advanced pool inspections, bonding testing right here, but you didn't take it. Insurance, baby. So we're talking metal, everything metal, okay? Here we got the heater casing, the pump, you know, metal pump casing, windows, doors, antenna inside the magic box, 512 inside that little magic box, and including all the steel. So that's a little cutout, all that Longaberger basket. That's all tied together, but that you can't see. You can only test, right? So what if you had something like a fiberglass pool? You still got to bond the water, right?
So a whole fiberglass shed, that's what you're talking about, not just repair.
There's not real good conductivity in fiberglass, but there's really good conductivity in the water. So that's why you have to bond the water. In a fiberglass pool, the only way I have ever seen it done is this. It has to be below the normal pool water level, and it's just a little plate. And this is the back side of it. So those are connected. And this is holding hands with all the other metal components, with the pool pump casing, with the heater casing, all those things. Everything's holding hands. Continuity. Ah. That particular one looks like above ground, yeah.
What about a bottom line? Same thing?
Right, the water has to be, right.
Where would you see that at?
You wouldn't, you could test for it though. I'll pay you to test it.
Just check.
Super easy. All right, so we're talking about the steel and everything that's in the deck. There's a couple ways to run your bonds around there, but you get the concept. This was a house under construction, and I just got a picture of it real quick. So it's just a little acorn clamp and a number 8 solid copper wire, right? Okay, since the vast majority of pool pumps that are installed are done by men, we need pictures. Ladies, sorry, that's just a guy thing, right? So they even put pictures for us so we can see how to do it. So a couple different ways, and the contact point, the connection point is provided by the manufacturer, like it's there. Nobody has to purchase anything. It's there, right? Make sure you check for it. And it's one of the things on your list, on your template. Very easy. Yeah, very easy call out. What do you think? Bam, bam, there you go. Better than nothing, but the Big Book of Rules says, thou shalt be solid, number 8 copper, and that's not solid, is it? Multi-strand. I know it's funny, isn't it? Someone just doesn't get the whole concept of continuity here, right? Good, I'm glad you. So if you're sitting there just laughing and you don't see it, okay, there's insulation in between the metal. Okay, you don't have to acknowledge me. I feel you. I think I have one coming up. I'll show you. So, well, you can see it, right? The screw's there, the wire's there. It looks good. Yeah. Well, your connection is metal to metal. So Alan Lucas sent me this. Vince knows Alan. He sends me a lot of pictures. This was he had called out in his first report that it was bad or not working, whatever it was. No, it's, well, I don't know, you can't tell right now. He goes out for a re-inspect and he sees this. Well, what does the wire say? Is 12 gauge bigger than 8 gauge? It's smaller than 8 gauge, right? The Big Book of Rules says, thou shalt be 8 gauge. This job is so easy, right? All you got to do is look and read.
Is that clamp acceptable?
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't think that's a copper clamp. Does that reduce the integrity?
Not that I know of. He's saying, does the dissimilar metal provide any resistance?
But the clamp in that particular case would be the right size clamp for the 8, so the clamp would be upsized to match the 8 wire.
Could be.
Most of the bonding clamps I see is where you can put the solid copper through it, and then it's...
Yeah, like an acorn clamp. Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter because it wasn't big enough anyway. So Alan was real popular, right? They paid somebody to fix it, and Alan was like, kill that deal. Okay. It's a metal frame, sliding glass door frame. Inside the magic box, 512, it must be bonded. Here we can see the visible connection, right? If you have windows, if you have gutters, you got fascia, drip edge, soffit, any metal inside the magic box got to be bonded, okay? Ugly, yes. Required, sorry. Required. Most of the time you can't see it, it's concealed, okay? But it must be bonded.
That paint doesn't compromise it, or am I thinking too hard?
No, paint does affect, so it would need to be, yeah, clean metal to metal, yeah. So there's a heat pump within the magic box, so it's got to be bonded, right? Screen cage, got to be bonded. 5 feet horizontal, 12 feet vertical. So anything metal inside that magic box. Yep, if it's inside that magic box.
And I feel like nowadays they're building pools closer and closer to the house. Like as soon as you walk out the front door, there's a pool.
The yard's getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yours are shrinking. But I have a surprise for you coming up.
So if your screen enclosure, because the screen enclosure in some instances is in that box, so that's
There you go. You won't ever miss it again, will you? Awesome, awesome. Now, sometimes there's leaves and bark, mulch and dirt and whatever covering it up, right? So guess what? I got that 4 foot long piece of EMT. I just, boom, Move the leaves. I didn't have to bend over. Use my kidney. Okay, there's also stray voltage it can kill you. It can also cause other stuff. Electric shock drowning is a real thing, which is why you ever go to a marina, there's always a sign that says thou shalt not swim here, right? Always. Marinas have to be inspected every single year. It's in the big book of rules. Now I was thinking, damn, I live in Florida. This is huge. I could be doing this all day, right? There's actually, it even calls out for, there's a subdivision of an electrical contractor that does it. So they're very specific. We can't do it, unfortunately. But anyway, my point here, it only takes a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of electricity for bad things to happen. So like you look at that, 0.07 amps through the body, painful, lose muscle control, it can be fatal. Okay, when you have boats, there's a lot of metal and there's a lot of electricity. And so if it's energized, like everything contracts, right? Your muscles contract. So does your mouth, everything. So it's not like you start wailing and screaming for help inside the pool. You just slowly watch yourself die as you drown. So ESD, electric shock drowning, is a real thing. If you don't put your hand in, you might not ever find it. But they can pay you to test for it too. There's another profit center there. That's a second profit center. You can test for this and it's super, super easy. Okay, for context, a 60-watt light bulb is about half an amp. So anyway. So what do you say when the construction code expert, the real estate agent, tells you that it wasn't code back then? It's a safety thing? Okay. You can always fall back on that.
I would say I don't inspect the code. Best practice to upgrade to today's standards.
Okay, he doesn't expect a code. It's not to today's standards? I can't hear you, sorry.
Minimum requirement.
Okay. Me personally, I like to have an answer. I can't stand not knowing. I just can't stand it. That's just a personal thing. So I would rather come back with facts. And there's some facts. Bonding has been in the NEC since 1962. That's before most of us were born. Okay? So it wasn't like it used to be code, now it's not, or no. It's always been there. Back in the day, they called it grounding. Okay? 1962, just a few years later, they went up to a number 8. It was a 14 before. I can only imagine the 14 very flimsy and lawnmowers break them and it didn't work real well. And then somebody says, well, we need to make this a bigger wire. So it's even been number 8 since 1965 before most of us were born. Been in there a long, long, long time. So I like to say that, when they say, wasn't code back then, I go, yes, it was. And I have a canned statement around that. Here's an authoritative source. Jerry Peck is a longtime construction expert, and that's my authoritative source. I put links like that in there, so feel free to do that.
So you can get the GFCI was first required for pools back in the 70s.
Who needs GFI? That's so yesteryear. Okay, field exercise. What do you see? You have to go in my order because that's the way the slides are put together, so go back. Okay. Oh, we got something metal there. Light fixture. It's inside the magic box. See, now you got it. Right? Anything else?
It looks like that's a stucco finish, like a little laugh and all that, is that supposed to also?
Yeah, it's stucco. Oh no, no, that's not in the Big Book of Rules. But good point. Get the ladder. Anything else?
In the previous picture, you had Mike Holt's picture up there. It didn't have the bond go to both sides of the ladder, it just went to one side of the ladder.
Probably because it had metal steps. So it's basically one big chunk of metal. Probably. Okay, usually nobody gets it.
Is that a steel fence?
Don't
It looks
think
like
so.
a steel fence with some kind of fabric. Covered because I can kind of see through it to water.
Okay. For you, it's metal. Usually, no one ever gets the last one, but here we got a frickin' structural engineer, and he called it out. Look how close the house is to that. Okay? Follow your hunch. Does it look odd? It looks odd. Follow that hunch, because you're right. Okay, don't answer, because I know you know. I know what you're thinking. This is for everybody else. Okay? If you go back to Construction 101, there's something called the angle of repose. Okay? When you impart a load on the earth, it doesn't go in a straight line into the earth. It tapers off. It's about a 45-degree angle. Now, you can have different soils and stuff like that that might be a little bit different. Call it 45. We make it simple. We're home inspectors. All right? So it's imparting that load. Well, what happens if you come out and you kick the legs out from underneath it? You could. You could. And guess whose fault it is? Not after today. Heck yeah. Now, I understand anything can be engineered, okay? So I don't say it is wrong because maybe they engineered around it, but I don't know. What I can say, fact, the pool is very close, and I don't know if the earth has been disturbed underneath the foundation. Make it sound more eloquent than that. We're talking 5th grade right now, right? Ooh.
So if the house is on pilings, then that's
No, well, the piling goes in however deep, and it still imparts a load. But if you're 10 feet deep, the pool's not going to be that deep. So you're not imposing on the angle of repose. Didn't we just sit here and say, wow, they're getting closer and closer? You said the yards were shrinking. Right. Well, an easy rule of thumb, if it's 45 degrees, is if it's 5 feet from the house, right, it shouldn't be deeper than 5 feet. I understand we're measuring from the bottom of the foundation, but so just a rule of thumb, right? Because that's a real quick visual. You can see both of those. Make sense? All right, cool. This does happen. We find that a lot. All right, so some other electrical stuff. There's your magic box. So anything metal inside the magic box must be bonded and must have a GFCI. Awesome. Everybody already gets the GFCI, right? So, yeah, I just say it's required to be, or something to that effect, right?
These items should be
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Now, you see what has happened here. Somebody came in and they built a metal patio thing out there. So that's inside that magic box. It must be bonded. But we can test for that if they pay us, right? Okay, speaking of GFCI, did you know that you had to have a service outlet? You have to have it. It just says it can't be closer than 6 feet and it can't be further than 20 feet. But you got to have one. Okay? 6 feet's easy to remember. Back in the day, we had boom boxes, and the cord is how long? 6 feet. So you don't want the boom box falling in the water, right? So it's easy to remember the 6 feet. Easy. Yeah, right?
You can't get some batteries.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so there's your code sections if you want to go look it up. I appreciate your trust you have in me, but I don't ever want you to say, well, Jon said. No, I get all this stuff out of the big book of rules, okay? Says everything's got to be bonded. I'm sorry, and you can't have luminaires, meaning lights, and paddle fans over the pool. Now, like, that never happens, right?
Maybe in Florida.
Yeah, Florida. We earn that duh, right? And ladies, just for you, see, it's man code. Okay, if it's over our head, we have to touch it. It's there. So we're all sitting in the pool, and this is hold my beer, right? Watch this, yeah. So now this is probably going to go away with the sellers. I understand, but it's going to be in my report just in case it doesn't. Now this has only been around since the NEC 14 version, okay? But it says where the pump is getting its power from must be GFCI protected. Ooh. So it's been around, what, 11 years now. Must be GFCI protected. So say the house was built before 2014. It wasn't required then. But it's still a safety issue, right? In Florida, we swim year round. So our pumps don't live as long as it might in Minnesota, where it only runs 2 weeks. Okay, 4 weeks, sorry. Right, they'll get a lot more life out of something because it just doesn't run as long. But you get my point. So when somebody's selling their house or a flipper or something like that, and they're putting in a new pump, it better be GFCI protected. Must be.
So you're saying receptacle or direct connect, so if it's direct connect, then it has to have GFCI breaker.
Right.
Or
Not my,
plug in, it's gotta have the
right. So either direct connect being hardwired, or if it was a plug-in, it'd have to be protected. But not my rule. I didn't make it up. You're bad.
So if your pump has been replaced since then, which is highly likely,
Exactly. It's supposed to be GFCI. Now, you're going to upset a lot of real estate agents, but hey, it is what it is. In the 2020 NEC, they made it more clear. Okay, they just came flat. I don't know if you can see it. They flat out says when a pool pump is replaced, that it must be GFCI protected. Like they left the very succinct language, right? All right, you know when you walk out and you look at the pool, that light's always in the same place. Because the Big Book of Rules tells it it's supposed to be in the same place. It's got to be at least 1.5 feet, 18 inches below the normal water level. That's why it's always in that same place, because they have to. There's an exception if the light is made to be more shallow, like a LED, which is very popular nowadays. Then it can be shallower, but it can't be, you still got to have at least 4 inches underwater. So almost always you'll see at least 18 inches, can be 4 if it's made to be less.
Okay, why? You know why?
Why?
I don't know, man.
Oh, because the Big Book of Rules says so.
Okay.
There you go.
But now you just say that too, because I said so.
Because I said so, yeah. Okay, that light must have, you have 2 options of protecting it. Okay, it'll be on a step-down transformer or the GFCI, but you have to have one or the other. You can have both, but you at least have to have one of those kind of things. The transformers, there's nothing to look at inside these, so it's not like in a breaker box or something like that. It's, you just note its existence, right? So we have on our pool, it says how the light's protected by GFI or transformer, and it's just you just check it, whatever it is, right? Okay, barriers. Again, this is big. If something bad happens, you are going to be assigned a certain amount of responsibility for that that death or worse. I use this picture because somebody I knew posted it. Now, her intent was, she was all happy. It was pool season. And they were, you know, we can finally get in the pool. You know, the weather is good enough. And they pulled out every blow up they had and put them all in the pool. It was just a fun thing, right? It's just a fun post is all she said. And I looked at that and went, holy crap. There could be a kid underneath all that right now. We don't know. Kids see playtime, right? In other words, barriers is pretty big. I don't know anybody in this post, but I screenshotted it. The guy is like, hey, let's talk about lawsuits and stuff. Has anybody ever seen? And then somebody goes and posts in here. I don't know this guy. An inspector did not mention missing pool safety equipment. Move-in day, toddler walked out, drowned. So we save lives every day, y'all.
Does a perimeter yard fence qualify as a barrier? Do you need a secondary barrier inside?
Does a perimeter yard fence qualify as a barrier? It does, and we'll get to that in a sec. But my point is, even if somebody tells you, don't worry about the pool, I got pool guys coming, okay, I am still going to note if it has a barrier, or it doesn't have a barrier, or the barrier's broke, or whatever it is, I will still note that, even if I'm told not to. Because I don't want to get sued, right? So, when it comes to barriers, this is the same in all codes. It's got to be at least 48 inches high. And you know something funny? I've done this so many times, and I always assumed that, like Florida, everybody's got a pool, that we would have the toughest pool code in the country, and we don't. It's actually way weaker than the IRC. The IRC says not only does it have to be 4 foot, but you go out 3 foot horizontally, and it still has to have 4 feet. So if your fence is here, and what if the grade was steep or something like that? Well, now a kid can jump, right? So you got to go out 3 feet and then measure up. Make sense? Wow. Wherever that barrier, whatever type of barrier you have, if it comes down to hardscape, concrete, pavers, something like that, then your clearance is going to be a little bit more. It'll be 4 inches, and that's easy to remember because you already have the whole guardrail thing, right? Heads can't be more than 4 inches apart. 4-inch sphere, right? So easy to remember that. If it's on softscape, mulch, dirt, grass, something like that, then your clearance is smaller because the softscape gives. So it goes down to 2 inches. So that barrier has to come down. It's got to be at least 4 feet high and come really close to the earth. 4 inches on the hardscape, 2 inches on the softscape, right? Gates, they have to have a locking device, and they must open outward. And I do know the why on that, okay? Must open. I'm glad you asked, man. Kids learn how to push before they learn how to pull. So that's why. So it's very, very easy to remember. It must open outward. The latch has got to be at least 54 inches high. And think about it for a sec. Your whole life, you're walking through a house, the handle's always here, right? Somewhere right in here. The pools, it's always straight up in front of you, right?
Didn't you just say fences have to be 48?
Oh,
And now you're saying
well, wait a minute. Very good observation. It says 48, but the latch is 54. Now what do we do?
That's why those latches are on top.
Very good. I thought I had a picture in here. That's why you have the plunger style. That's how you gain that distance. Good observation. Very good, man. Not bad. Okay, swing away. You know what? I really don't care about dates and that kind of stuff. Okay, all right, same thing. Self-latching, self-closing, 48 inches high, and watch your clearances on the bottom. But that's why they always have a closer, because the Big Book of Rules says so. So all you got to do is test it, right? Let go and make sure it closes and latches. I picked something up from Mike Crow and another guy many, many years ago called Toolbox Marketing. If I can fix it really fast, I take credit for it. So I can adjust the little closer thingy, to make it work better if it needs a little adjustment. Then I'll say, it wasn't working right and I fixed it for you. Preston, probably. Probably. Yeah. Mike Crow was teaching that long, long, long time ago. Anyway, what's wrong with that one? Besides me. It opens the wrong way, right?
You're a little too happy about it.
I was. It was kind of funny. But look at it. Cowboys won that day. Absolutely. No, I got stories. Everybody better get a body cam. Whole different conversation. But this is not a cheap house, right? This is not a bad neighborhood. This is a very nice neighborhood. So you'll find these things all over the place. What's wrong with those?
Latch not high enough.
Could be. It opens inward, and neither one of them are self-closing, self-latching. Or they might be self-latching, but they're not self-closing.
They can open in, they just have to open out.
Sure. No. Because remember, the kids access. So it must open out, self-close, self-latch.
That's what the code says, close out. It doesn't say you can't open in.
No, it says must open outward.
It doesn't say you can't open in.
It says it must open outward. Like a shower door? Yeah, no, I wouldn't stretch that one. It says it must open outward. So I know what you're saying. I get it. Yeah. Excessive spacing underneath, right? We got that one? This one here, so that's the macro, this is the micro. You see, I'm at 48 inches.
That's the little pull latch, or the pull.
Yeah. Now, this one here, I know at least some of you guys are thinking the same thing I did. I looked at that and I literally sucked my gut in and I wondered if I could squeeze through there. Sorry, it's just a guy thing. It just popped in my head. So if I think that, little boys are going to think that too. So big gap there.
And just a question, if a fence gate is the barrier, and those handles are usually not 54 fence latch, that would actually need to be brought up
Yeah, if it's accessing the pool.
to the backyard and there's no other barrier between the fence.
Right. Yeah, so if it's just like that picture. So he's saying if it's below, then it's got to be modified. It's easy, right? Can statement. You're going to have it pre-filled out, right? Or you have that can statement pre-written and just click in your software. So it's already there. Okay, those mesh fences, you know how they always come right down to the deck? Because the big book of rules says they must. They must be within 1 inch of the deck. That's why they're always like that, all right? It also says, I was talking to somebody last night, and he just thought it was crazy how tight, he was reading some of the stuff, and how tight the mesh has to be, okay? It says you can't fit a 1/4 inch round object, you can't deform it and fit something 1/4 inch wide. A marble is 1/2 inch, okay? That's how tiny the little 1/4 inch is, right? Wow, and think about that. But that's why it looks like a window screen, right? Because it's how tight it is. And they put minimums on there as well. It has to be able to resist 52 pounds of lateral load at 3 feet high. Okay, because a kid, right, that might push, must be able to resist. So maybe I took that picture out already. I've got a picture of them that don't comply. It blows your mind. Anyway, when it comes real close to the deck like that, it can't be lifted up more than 4 inches, right? So a kid could crawl under it. Make sense? The graphic usually helps it stick a little bit better. Now, there's all kinds of options for barriers, but all of them will tell you you can't have a 4-inch sphere pass through it at a minimum. All right. There's the code book is full of 12 different barrier types, and there's a bunch of those, bunch of different types anyway.
So if they have a doggy door installed, that would fall into that?
Now a kid can crawl through it, right? Yeah, so if it's got a doggy door or something like that, that would be an access.
I'm not gonna let my doggy back close to the pool, it might fall in. It's a bad idea.
You're going to upset some real estate agents, but it just is what it is.
I wouldn't have let them outside the door if you want to get out the yard
I understand.
in the bird cages.
Understand. If a kid can fit through it and drowns, it's your fault, right? Now, somebody brought it up earlier. Any access to the pool has to have any access to the pool has to have a barrier system. We have a list of things we can use as a barrier, but you have to have it. So even if the window is on the side of the house, if it still goes into the backyard where the pool is, then that window has to have a barrier between that window and the pool. Well, you can accomplish that with the mesh fence. Easy, right? Or something similar, but that's an option. Any glass within 5 feet must be safety. Okay, if it's original construction, it's more than likely going to be compliant. It's when somebody builds a pool after they've already bought the house, you know, the house is already built, and all of a sudden they're not replacing windows. It's supposed to be safety glass. What do you see? A whole lot of fun on Saturday. Good answer.
The height of the pool, the deck.
The height of the pool. It's not, yeah, we got to have 48 inches, right? This was posted on, I don't know how I saw it. It was some, your barrier's got to be 40 inches high. So if you walk out to your pool and it's 48 inches tall, well, you can't get in it, right? But this guy had posted on, like, it was a handyman type of Facebook group. And he was like, check out the deck I built. And I'm like, damn, that's nice, right? Look real close. There's a child. Yeah. In the picture. There has to be a barrier. Any access, there has to be a barrier, any way you get to it.
The front side of that pool is gonna be 48 inches and it's fine, but he raised that deck in the back. Is that what?
Right, right. It walks right up to it. I mean, and there's,
Get in, if there's a barrier all around you,
You have to do it within
Yeah.
a certain distance.
what's the distance that's required from the pool to not have that
It'll be
barrier?
a ladder. You have to have a ladder, but it's,
you can ruin my surprise.
how do you get out of it?
So could you say that that's where the barrier with the gate is?
So on the top side, you
I love it. This is debating over barriers. This is cool. Good stuff. All right, speaking of ladders, I'm glad you asked. If it has a ladder, okay, if you have an above ground pool, you got to be able to get into it, right? So it's got an access ladder, but the Big Book of Rules says it must be foldable, uppable, or something like that. I'm making up words as I go along. Must be capable of being secured, locked, or removed. There's your IRC, and I took the Florida one out. This says the same thing in the Florida code, okay? Now this one here's lockable. It's ugly, but it works. I get it, right? All right, another field exercise. What do you see?
Climbable fence on the backside.
Very good. So this fence is correct. This fence is backwards because the scalable side is over here. So again, you're going to have resistance from the real estate agents. It's not our fence. It's their fence. It's not ours. It's not our problem. It is your problem because if the kid scales it and drowns, it's your fault, not mine. It's in my report. Okay, don't back down. You're going to piss people off, but it's better than going to court over it, right? Big Book of Rules tells you it's the same, both Florida and IRC. The barrier may not have any gaps, openings, indentations, protrusion, or structural components that could allow a young child to crawl under, squeeze through, or climb over the barrier. Period.
It's gonna be a tough climb, I agree with that.
It's going to be a tough climb. I get it. But that's what the rules say.
But if that's the neighbor's fence, then you don't have a choice. You can't put it unless you put barbed wire across the top of it.
Barbed wire across the top. There you go.
Electric fence, and put electric hot wire.
They do everything more dangerous in Texas, don't they? Anyway.
Build another fence right next to it, facing the right way.
What are you, how about a mesh fence around the pool? Done. Okay, take care of it. Yeah, there's options. You have options. Bottom line is it's wrong. So what do you see here? Opens inward,
Probably self-closing.
not self-closing,
54 inch.
lower than 54 inches on the latch.
You're gonna get poison ivy coming going.
Anything else?
Are we on the pool deck?
Hmm?
Okay.
The trees, you can climb behind the trees.
The trees, exactly. Remember, 3 feet out still has to have 48 inches. So if you had a heat pump that was sitting there that a kid could climb on, you got a tree.
Install a generator that had to be 3 feet away from the fence.
That's why. Now you'll never forget.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
Nice. Yeah.
Quick question, what's the distance from the pool at the very, that's a specific distance, right?
No, it just says you have to have a barrier. There's nothing in the Big Book of Rules that says it must be within so many inches, feet.
So the golden box, 5 feet, 12 feet, that's just the bonding, grounding.
That's just bonding, right? The magic box.
So that previous deck photo with the pool, lower on the deck, if there was a fence around that area, then we're fine.
There's actually a code in there that says if you have an above ground and it's not 48, then everything, you still have to be compliant. You'd have to build a fence on top of that. And they make them. They make fences that go on top of that.
Even if you have another fence around, like your yard?
To your point earlier, you have to have a barrier, any access. So you have the public that could get in there. You have people inside the house. So any access, right?
It's just very different, like, I guess,
Oh, so you're looking at the access coming from the home, which is not the yard, and because of that, that's a little different. The perimeter fence in that situation.
Right, you have to have, all access to the pool has to have a barrier. So whether you're coming from the house or, right. Okay, so speaking of scalable, sum this up real easy. When you have horizontal members, okay, the farther apart they are, the farther apart the verticals. Okay, so it's 40, if they're 45 inches or more, they can be up to 4 inches. Can't pass that 4-inch sphere. If you're 45 or less, then it goes down to 1 3/4 of an inch. Ooh, that's tight. Make sense? I have a graphic that will make more sense. But that's what those two codes tell you. But there, the graphic makes a lot more sense, right? Because here, it's more like a ladder. You have that horizontal member, so you can just hop. So your vertical distance goes down. If it's more than 45, well, then you go that whole 4-inch sphere thing. Cool? Awesome.
So that's not considered scalable. Like that other fence was scalable. Because that one has, even though it has the ladder, it's less scalable because of, I'm confusing myself.
Yeah, it's another rule. So yeah, it says it can't be indentations and stuff like that, so it's scalable. But when you have the horizontal, they get even more granular. So the farther apart you get this way, the farther apart you get that way.
But wasn't that one still scalable with the middle bracket?
Yeah, it could be. Yep, could be. Now there's another option for barriers, and it's going to be an audible barrier. Everybody has heard that thing go off, right? Yeah. It could be grumpy old dad too. Yeah, exactly. As long as you can be there 24/7 and at least 85 decibels, you got the job. All right. And guess how high the deactivation switch on that alarm has to be? 54 inches. just like the access, the latch on the screen door, right? 54 inches high. So you don't have to memorize another rule. It's already there. That gives you an option. One of the conversations I was having yesterday with that guy who said he was going to be here today and isn't, but in California, it's already law. They have tried it several times in Florida, and it keeps failing. But there was this little boy that drowned, and his mom, I forget the names now, she's been on a campaign to make pools more safe. And we have the big book of rules says we have to have a barrier, and here's the things on the list. Okay? Well, they're trying to make it, and it's already, like I said, law in California, you have to have 2 of the things on the list. One of the ways to do that would be an alarm, an audible alarm. Okay? Of course, 54 inches high. Of course, these things are usually ripped off of the wall where grumpy old dad got mad because they're loud. All right, so some other safety stuff. Now, this is big. This is real big, too. When we're talking about suction entrapment, we're talking about the main drain.
Can I ask you a question about fences before we leave that?
Yeah.
Is there any code that says anything about attractive nuisance, like the neighbors can visually see the pool to where children are probably attracted to the pool and they can eventually find their way in it and drown or themselves? Is there any code against that, or is that an insurance thing?
Well, it says that the pool must have a barrier. Okay, yes, it is a attractive nuisance, which is why you have to have the barrier because the kids are going to want to play in it.
So as long as the barrier meets all the codes, whether you can visually see the pool, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so there's nothing that says you have to obstruct its view from everybody. Yeah, I don't. Maybe in California.
If your backyard didn't have a wooden fence, you just had the mesh fence around the pool, it's good to go.
Good to roll.
And you can still see, right?
Yep, good to roll. So suction entrapment is a real thing, and again, dates I don't care. It doesn't make any difference on something safety. They even made a movie about this. If you Google it, you'll find it, and you can view that. Where ladies, it's always a dude. We have to swim down to the main drain. It's man code. So it's a guy that swims down there, and he gets stuck, and it pulls his guts out of his backside. It's a real thing, which is why all the rules are. So it's telling you that the main drains have to comply to these safety standards. And what are the safety standards? There's a bunch of things in there. That was the first time that they started to mention the flow, slowing the flow down. Now, this is something that is way above and beyond the scope of anything we could do. We can't measure the flow, but they consider, this is all done in engineering, all right? You can have multiple outlets, meaning multiple drains. And if you have more than one, they have to be at least 3 feet apart. Right? If they were together, then a big person could sit and cover both, right? So you make them 3 feet apart, and one person can't cover both. Or it can be what they call an unblockable outlet, and I'll show you what the definition is. Well, it's 18 by 23. If you can't cover the whole thing, then it's considered unblockable. And I have a couple pictures, but there's one. It was raining, and I didn't want to go to the truck and get the GoPro, so I'm sorry for the bad picture, but that's not 3 feet apart, is it? How it got like that, I have no earthly idea. But there it was. I was staring at it. Less than 3 feet. There you go. So since you can't cover the entire thing, that's considered unblockable. The other option is a channel drain, and if you can't cover that whole thing, it's considered unblockable. That's the definition. A lot of times you'll see this type of thing on commercial. And let me say, don't ever apply all this stuff to a commercial pool. They're way different. They're totally different, all right? I don't even bother doing the commercial pools. I have a person in our area who's an expert in it and hire her. But there's your definitions. And some of your newer pools, this is right there. That is right there. So those are unblockable. Oh, there we go. Got arrows.
So that's sufficient.
That's sufficient.
Oh, it's sufficient.
So, yeah. The code now is very clear, and it tells you when retrofitting, it must, if it's a single, then it must be compliant with the safety stuff. And you can pick one of these things on the list. Vacuum brakes, they're all some form of a vacuum brake or a gravity style drain. So this is what happens. And there's a good story with this too. But back in the day, we would take our laptops and go into the house and type, right? And I'm walking, I was doing a condo, interior only condo, so I wasn't doing the pool or anything on this place, but I'm walking with my laptop and I hear this, and I knew instantly what it was, that there were some hot chicks at the pool checking me out, so I had to go look, and there's nobody over there. I was disappointed immediately, right? So I didn't see anybody, I didn't think about it. Male bonding. So I'm getting a ladder and I'm getting tools, I'm walking back and forth, and I hear it again. And I look. I'm thinking maybe somebody's messing with me, and I go over and look around the bushes. The suction on this was so strong. It's going, and it gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and it pulls it down. It looks just like a tornado touchdown like you see on the Weather Channel, exactly like that. It pulls that water down, however deep that was, 3-4 feet, right? Pulls it all the way down, and as soon as the air hit that drain, you heard that, and it would mess up, and it would start going again, and it would pull it all the way down. I was like, holy crap, somebody is gonna get stuck on that thing. Excuse me. I lost that video, but I do have this one. This is the same exact thing, it's just in the skimmer, okay? Just to demonstrate what I'm talking about. See how,
Just neat to see that vortex created in the skimmer, and it eventually makes, pulling in air, eventually makes it touch down. All the way down to the bottom.
Bam, right? Why would...
It's pretty wild.
That's some heavy suction. Why would it be such a strong... It's odd, right? Could be an oversized pump. Huh?
Well, the skimmer basket will usually stop that from happening.
Maybe.
Because when I take the skimmer basket out of my pool, if the water's not high enough in the skimmer, it'll do that. But if the water's at the right height, it won't.
If the water's at the right height, there's more resistance, right? It doesn't pull it all the way down. So when I saw that, I'm like, I bet you $10 that main drain is screwed shut, plugged. Guarantee you, if they had a leak, and you're not going to tear the pool out, you just plug the main drain. So the pool is really strong. That's that. I guess I could be wrong, but now you get it. This is in your head, right?
It's normally pulling from there. When it can't, it starts to pull other.
Some older design pools will pull from both the main drain and the skimmer at the same time.
It usually has a valve that closes off because it'll get
Yeah.
a certain percentage from the bottom and a certain percentage from the skimmer.
Right.
Unless, you vacuum in the pool, you want all the suction in the skimmer so you can...
Amen. Amen. Sing it, brother. All right, this is old school. It's flat, and somebody can get stuck on it. All right. A newer school, I don't have a date, will be convex, so it's harder to cover the whole thing, right? And this one only pulls from the perimeter, so that's a newer one. Now, if you got long hair, ladies or something, your hair gets stuck in there and wrap around there, you can still get stuck. So they have anti-hair, anti-snare type drains like that, where if it pulled your hair, you pull it right back out. It won't get wrapped around. These are required to be replaced every 10 years, and no one ever does. So we have a default statement in there. It's a tiny little paragraph, pool safety and stuff, that says these are supposed to be replaced every 10 years. I'm not swimming down to the bottom unless you pay me. But tells them they're recommended to be replaced. If I see one of the old school ones, I don't care if they had it in their shed and put it in yesterday. It doesn't matter. It's a safety, still a safety thing. So I have a can statement for that, right? So remember that said you can have multiple outlets. It can be 2, it can be 4, but they got to be how many feet apart? at least 3 feet apart, right? So that's what those two are. Now, a good visual, so you know what it looks like underneath, they're connected. So if somebody did block this one, this would still pull, and you wouldn't get stuck, right? So now you got that visual, because you don't see textures and colors and stuff. You see sticks and nails and nail plates and pipes and wires, right? You see steel, you see pipes, you see, right? All right, equipment. Don't miss the skimmers. Like, guys, this job is so easy, okay? Hands tied behind my back is a bad business decision, in my opinion. First of all, like he was mentioning before, you have to have you'll have a basket that catches leaves and frogs and kids' toys and stuff, right? You have to have, in order for a skimmer to skim, it'll either have a door that goes up and down with the level of the water or this weir that I'm picking up right there. So that floats up and down with the level of the water. If you don't have that, it won't skim the caca, the leaves and stuff on the top. It'll pull stuff from down, and it's no longer a skimmer. So you've got to have one of those, but always look inside. Now, you cannot miss this huge crack, right? But I put that in here on purpose, make you think. Make sure you look inside. Look at this, it's cracked. Sometimes the cracks can be fixed, okay? You might get a contractor that goes, oh, no, I got to tear this one out. Your inspector missed it. He's an idiot, or she's an idiot. You got to join us. You know, she's an idiot. They missed it. They're going to pay for it. You want to guess what it costs to, like something like this, chip that concrete out, dig it out, replace that? $30. Central Florida, about $2,500. Okay, so if you charge $500 for the inspection, you just lost 5 inspections. How hard is it to bend down and look inside and go, oh, it's cracked? This job is so easy. Okay, take a look. I got another story. I'll show you in a second. You want to look at the basket anyway. It's damaged, so the leaves and the frogs and the kids' toys and stuff can bypass, and it goes into the pump. And the pump's expensive. There you go. Yeah, to hold it down. Don't put chlorine tabs. You can't put chlorine tabs in the skimmer, and everybody does, okay? And we got a couple canned statements for that, recommending they not do that. So this particular house, first thing I did is remove the skimmer cover, and I look and I see the baskets broke, damaged, and leaves and frogs and lizards and stuff, right, and goes to the pump. So I'm pointing at that, I take the picture, and I see the chlorine tab in there. I have another canned statement for that. I said, don't do this, dummy. Dang right. Look at that. Looks like cauliflower ear, doesn't it? Yeah, I pulled the basket out to look and I went, holy cow. Okay, that wasn't hard. I was doing this in Fort Lauderdale, this presentation, and I told that story exactly like I told you. I didn't mention anybody's name. All of a sudden somebody goes, hey, that was, it was a Spanish name, I forget. That was Jose Garcia's, I made that up. I can't remember the name. And I'm like, I didn't mention anybody's name. How the hell do you know that? Our client apparently walked. Somebody else buying the same exact house. He did the inspection. He's one of these guys, hands tied behind my back, visual inspection only. Following the standards, that's it. And he missed it. The pool guy comes out and says, your inspector's an idiot, and it's going to be $3,500 or whatever to replace it. Guess who didn't get that call? So it's so easy, guys. It's so easy. This was another one. Those are all the exact same. I was like, I didn't have the GoPro or whatever, flash on, flash off. I was trying to get a good picture in there. But when you see those, it looks like little mushrooms growing in there. That's the effects of chlorine tabs in there. All right, pumps. Obviously, if it's making noise, it wasn't manufactured like that, right? That might be a good indication that it's getting wore out, it's getting tired, right? So I would write that up, exactly what I hear, what I'm experiencing. Obviously, you're gonna look for leaks and stuff like that. You wanna look inside the top of that pump, you know, it's usually clear-ish anyway, and look for aeration. If you see air, bubbles inside there shouldn't be bubbles, because this is a closed system, right? You got that big body of water, you got this big bucket, and the pump pulls water out, it goes in the pump and the filter and all that, and it goes back in another pipe, and it's just a loop, right? So if there's air in there, it's sucking it from somewhere. In other words, there's probably a fitting that's broke, loose, a cracked pipe, maybe a tree root. Could be a lot of different stuff, right? So again, how hard is that? Look for bubbles. And I got a canned statement said, currently experiencing aeration. Click. It's so easy. Of course, I'm looking for bonding. We touched on that. Electrical connections should be all concealed. And you need an SOP when you're doing this, right? At Vince's pool, he's got fire and water fountains and all kinds of really cool stuff. And my pool is just a very basic bucket, and it's a pump, and it's boring. And his is really, really fancy. But you know what is the exact same? His pool and my pool? There's water in it. They both have pumps, right? Every pool will have a pump. Not every pool has the fancy fire stuff and waterfalls and lights and all this stuff. So since that's the common component, it kind of makes sense that it'd be a good place to start, right? So you tell the next guy or gal that's coming behind you, this is our SOP. We start at the pump, right? Now, again, for your visual, and if you have a pool place by your house, go in and check it out. That's where I got the picture. They have all this stuff, you know, filters cut in half and stuff, so you can see it, feel it, taste it if you like. The water always comes in the side and out the top. Always comes in the side and out the top. So if we have frogs and toys and lizards, leaves and all, coming in the side, the basket catches that, right? Without the basket, it goes straight into the impeller. So you wouldn't want a Hot Wheels car getting stuck in there and burning it up, right? So it gets pulled in the middle there, and it comes shooting out those gaps and goes out the top. All pumps are the same. Comes in the side and out the top. So it makes sense this is where we're going to start our inspection, right? Comes in the side and out the top. Sometimes it does help putting a light, flashlight in there. You can see bubbles and stuff, so little tip. How are you going to prove the pump works in your report?
Stick your finger in the hole.
Stick your finger in the hole? Is that what you type? I stuck my finger in the hole. Okay, so we can see it. What if I said, I don't believe you? I think you missed it. Well, there's a real good way to do it. I amp it. Simple, right? No, I used to amp everything. If it had a motor, I amped it because I can prove it. You know, that AC, you walk outside and the fan's blowing. There's air coming out of that big box. Is the heat pump working? The only way I know is if I put an amp meter on it, right? So is 8.2 amps good or bad? Exactly, depends on the data plate. So I compare. Well, 99.9% of them are going to be 240 volt. So I go to the middle one that corresponds. 9.8 is max. I'm at 8.2. I'm good. So what if it were pulling 10? or 9.7, then I would state exactly what's happening. Current running amperage is, may indicate a limited life system. Boom. That's mic drop right there, right? My pump died. You missed it. Did you see your report? I took an amp draw, 8.2. It was good. Sucker. No match for my kung fu. All right. So some of this is already getting pretty old. They were predicting this was going to happen, and then it actually did happen. There's all kinds of energy efficiency stuff in laws. Part of it is pool stuff, and it's telling you basically you're putting a pump in, and it must be one of these energy efficient things, okay? How do you tell? Well, if it's got a fancy LED thing on there, it's not going to be a single speed old school pump, right? That's one easy way to do it. These are vacuum brakes. Okay, we used to see these a lot. They've gone away. I don't know why, but all that is a vacuum brake. There is a way to test them, but it would be way beyond anything we could do. These are resettable. That one I'm not sure, but I know these could reset. Sometimes they have the suction vacuum release, whatever that SVR stands for, built into the pump, which is really cool. I mean, well, this is also a newer pump. You see, I can open that up, and there's buttons and LED readouts and fancy stuff, right? Another nice energy efficient one.
Hey, John, quick question. On some of these pumps, the ground wire is missing, right? So would that be, if there's no housing or no connection there, and then, should that still be a ground wire attached to that as well, onto the housing?
The ground is inside there.
Inside the conduit.
You mean the bond wire? Yeah. Bad boy. Bond wire. Yeah, it may be out of the image. I don't know. Don't remember. But that's another newer one, fancier one. God, you look at this and you think, holy crap, where do I start? Good answer. Good answer. How about we start at the pump? Because every pool has a pump. Good job. So, comes in the side and out the top, right? You know who this is? Yeah, baby. Frampton, baby. Right? You have to do this when you say it. Frampton, baby. Peter Frampton, for those of you who don't know. This is Peter Frampton. Who's this? Peter Frampton's hair colored pink. Okay? You will never forget this. You'll remember for the rest of your life. Peter Frampton's hair colored pink, but you'll also train the next guy or gal coming up. Peter Frampton's hair colored pink, PFHCP. This is the order of the components they're going to be in. Pump, filter, heater, chlorinator, back to the pool. Peter Frampton's hair colored pink. You can't forget it. You'll never forget that, right?
I probably will.
You got what? Yeah, we do. It's funny. I don't know anybody that after the first year, they get their bill, they go, holy crap, I ain't using that thing anymore. So that's an easy way to remember it. We'll start with something simple. Okay, remember, the water comes in the side and out the top. In the side and out the top. So all of this stuff, all of these pipes, it's being sucked into the pump. So this is called the suction side. Everything out here is being pushed out into the system. So this is the pressure side, all of this. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 things coming in the side, out the top. Peter Frampton filter through the heater, hair. This doesn't have a chlorinator, but pretend that's a chlorinator. Colored, and then back to the pool, colored pink. Peter Frampton's hair colored pink. Got it? So here comes in the side, out the top, through the filter, through the heater. There's your returns in the side. Fills up the big bucket. The suction side pulls out of the main drains, pulls out of the skimmer, back to the pump. And it's just a loop. Very, very simple. get a little bit more complicated here. So we got two things coming in. Where's it come from? I don't know. It's not labeled. I'm not sure yet, right? So it comes out the top, filter, heater. Wow, it goes two different directions. Let's take one. So it goes this way. This one fills the big bucket. Got it? It comes out of the main drain, the skimmer. That right side, that's the pool. I take out my Sharpie and I write pool. People appreciate it, especially people that don't know how the pool works, right? All right, so now we go this direction. This one goes to the little bucket. I pull my Sharpie out, I write spa. So same thing, it fills the little bucket up, comes out the main drain, out the skimmer. So that left side is the spa. Easy, right? It's so easy. Even a 5th grader can do it. Whoop. All right, so real life. We got 4 things here. In the side, out the top, filter comes through this way. These valves are on gears and they automatically move, so don't force those. Those are done with a button, all right? If you break them, then you gotta pay for them. Comes up through the chlorinator, back down, and those two go to the pool. Simple. You can literally train the next inspector in your company, right?
So you're labeling them, hey, just as a courtesy, or?
Yeah, why not? $5. So we get this already? Dang. All right, well, I'll keep going. If you want to leave, you can leave. I don't care. I get this inspection, and the guy goes, don't worry about the pool. I'm like, damn. It was new construction. I'm like, nothing's rotted yet, right? It's brand new. But I'm on the roof, and I look down, and I went, whew, thank God I'm not doing this pool. I got a call 10 months later, 11 months later to come do the 1 year, right? And now I got to do it. How did I do it? I started with a pump. Comes in the side, out the top, goes through it. Got it. Go to the next one. In the side, out the top, go through it. Got it. It had multiple pumps. The freaking box with all the buttons. It took a while, but I got through it one at a time. Anybody ever been to Acapulco? Yeah, me neither. But I have been to Shacapulco. I actually got to inspect Shaq's house twice. There's some people that are so famous they only need one name. Shaq is one of them, right? So his pool is 95 feet long. It was big. He's a big man. This was like 17 feet deep or something like that. It was really deep. And I got to stand right up here.
This was in Florida?
Yeah, exactly. So, of course, I had to post, check me out, everybody. I'm at Shaq's house, baby, right? So everything was kind of surreal.
Did you get sued for that?
No.
Did you meet Shaq?
No, he was long gone. He didn't care about me. So, but then I had to go do the rest of it, and then reality set in. And I'm like, holy crap. There were like 7 pumps and all these filters and aerators, and it was, oh my God, it was a nightmare. But how did I do it? I started with the pump. It goes in the side, out the top, bam, I identified that. Just one step at a time all the way through. So it made it easy. These handles, I operate them, okay? If they're manual, you don't know if the spa's actually gonna work. So I switch them and do it myself. Off is up at the top there. I picture that like a big brick wall. Wherever that is, there's no water flow there. The only one I don't touch are the big valve. The huge filter one. I don't do that one. Make sure the chlorinator is last. Okay, Peter Frampton's hair colored pink. It's the last thing that should be in there. On this one, I came around. This was the first thing I saw right here, and I'm going in the side, out the top. I'm like, what the heck is that? See that pump in there? So if you follow it around, here's the chlorinator. I could see it, but the line comes this way, up this way, and it goes into that pump right here. See it? So it's sending super chlorinated water straight into that pump, straight into that metal impeller. Guess which pump was seized? Duh. So chlorinator must be last. This was a multi-million-dollar house on the water, in the side, out the top through the filter. Whoa, chlorinator straight into the heater. We find this kind of often. It's kind of funny. I always note the pressure in the pool. If it's 20 is a good rule of thumb. It needs to be cleaned or backwashed or something like that. So if it's 30, I'd note it. Just in case it's not just dirty, there's something wrong, all right? I note the pressure. I always open the little relief valves up. It's just lefty-loosey. Air comes out. It's how you let air out. However, I don't touch those. Oh, I'm glad you asked me why. Because they sit out in the sun all day long and they become brittle. I broke it and it cost me. I had to pay for it when I broke it. So I don't turn those. Love systems when they're on buttons. You start on the left. When you get there, it will be on auto, okay, because it's automatic. And you take over because you're going to manually do this now. And I start with the first one. The first one is always the main pump, the pool pump. And I do my thing, and then I go to the next one, and I go all the way down. So they could be heaters, lights, blowers, could be a bunch of different stuff. But just a system, one at a time, right? Remember, if it's got bubbles, it's sucking air from somewhere. Take a picture, can statement goes in there and says, you're sucking air from, bubbles indicate it's sucking air from somewhere, have the pool guy figure it out and fix it. Simple, right? You know what bubbles look like. We'll keep moving. Heaters. There's a lot of different types of heaters, okay? It makes sense that they should have a temperature pressure relief valve, right? Your water heater in your house has one. Well, I have I've got an asterisk. Thanks, guys. Thank you. I always turn those on, open them up, okay? In Florida, we find snakes inside there because they're chasing rats and whatever. Always look inside, looking for things that might be burnt, broke. Heat pumps, we run them and I amp it. I can prove that it's working or it's not working by amping it. Really easy. Same thing with electric. I can prove its function. However, remember we had an asterisk, right? TPR is designed for its pressure and temperature, TPR, right? Temperature and pressure. Well, you're not going to have that on a pool because the pool is open and it can't build up too much pressure. It's an open system. So you wouldn't have to have it like that. There's a couple other exceptions there, but sometimes the manufacturer says you must have it, okay? If it's, like I said, a couple exceptions, but we don't have a whole lot of gas in Florida, so hence we find bad gas a lot. We just don't have much of it. You have to have a sediment trap that catches sediment, right? But it tells you it must be downstream of the shutoff, right? And as close to the appliance as practical. So gas is coming in this way, whoop, it's going the wrong way. There's your shutoff. It's got to be downstream of the shutoff. Here, it's coming, it should be over here, right? It's way back here. It should be as close as possible and downstream of the shutoff. So very simple, and just follow it, right?
So the downstream on that gas supply would be in the yellow flexible line, up in there above it?
Yeah, it should be configured differently is what it boils down to. A real gas guy knows how to do it. T-cells, these are chlorinators. You've heard pools called salt pools. This is why, okay? So you have this little bread box. There's titanium plates in there. If you apply a little bit of electricity and you apply salt water in there, you have a chemical reaction and it creates chlorine. Actually, it creates chlorine gas, but it's absorbed immediately into the water, hence you got chlorine. That's a salt pool. That's how it works. So there's usually an indicator. There's the plates inside, but on the panel, there's usually indicators that tell you if something's wrong. There's not much you can do with those. The water line. This is big and so simple, but do not miss this. Okay, You have that bucket buried in the ground, right? It's holding water. Water is always level. It doesn't know any better. It's always level, right? The tank can be out of level, but the water cannot be out of level. Make sense? So if the water line, you're watching it along the tile, and it's thin on this end, and there's a bigger reveal down here, the tank is probably moved. Okay? Yeah, it could settle. Could be a lot of things, right? In the IRC is, we saw the, they give you real close, it doesn't say that in the Florida. They even put numbers on it. We just have to look for the level part. But good morning. Believe it or not, it's a little chilly today in Florida. But this is a good example of your macro micro. On the macro, one of the things we look at is the water line. And if we take a look around here, we can see it's low on that end, if you can tell from this far away, and high on that end. Look where we're kind of level. You can see the water level is about even with the bottom tile line. You come across here, you see how the water level dips below the tile. We'll get I'm gonna closer come in a in a little second. closer. Actually, let me start over here real quick where I'm at. Can you see how the water line is below the tile? Actually, down here. I measured that at 6 1/4 inches. Now watch this. See, we're just touching the bottom of the tile here. And we come across. We're above the tile. I'm about right here. See it? I measured this side at 5 inches, so it's 1 1/4 inches out. 1 1/4 inches out. Holy cow.
Do they have anything to do with how they constructed?
The pool was poured.
You know what I mean?
No, the pool's probably moved. When they're putting the tile in there, they're using water levels or lasers. That's why they're always dead on, right? This particular, see I measured it, each side. See 5, 6 1/4. So that's significant. What is attached to that tank? All those returns, the suction, all the pipes. Well, what if you twist the tank, you can break those connections, right? So that's significant. Do not miss something so easy, all right? That could cost big time. Couple profit centers, leak detection. If you guys ever want to get into it, you can YouTube University dye testing. And it's not tough. Most of it is done from the pool deck. The only thing you got to get in the water for is the main drain and the light. But it's literally using syringes and dye. So we were doing a little bit of that, and there's a 2-part epoxy that I bought, and I would fix little cracks and gaps and stuff. Little things, not anything big, but if you want to go step it up, you don't want a YouTube University pressure testing, because you blow something up, it's going to be expensive. You need to know your stuff. But you can get into things like that, sounding and pressure testing, and sell it as an upgrade. And if no one ever takes you up on it, who cares? You offered it, right? This is normally, like I said, a 6-hour class. If you guys are interested, we have a certification attached to it in the bigger class with a test and all that good stuff. But
Is it remote class or?
yeah, yep. Home Inspection Schoolflorida.com. I have one of those cards in here somewhere. So that's it. Like I said, feel free to reach out, get a hold of me. Thanks, guys.